Right guys, before we start, remember to follow me on BitChute, Gab and my other social media channels that are linked down below. I keep forgetting to give them a mention in each video. But as some might know, Boris Johnson was asked if Joe Biden is woke, because I guess that is a meaningful question coming from UK journalists, while the government locks us in our homes, bans us seeing our families and stops people from opening their own businesses. Ruining people's lives is not worth questioning, but how far left Biden's political compass sits is right at the top of the pile for UK media. Why does this really not surprise me? Now, it was all started obviously by Labour MP Lisa Nandy moaning that Boris Johnson defended Winston Churchill or some shit like that. But to be honest, Labour moan about anything remotely patriotic, so that is of no surprise to me and hardly news at this point. Now, while the question was obviously crap and pointless, Boris being woke himself, while his supporters are dead set against it, put Boris in a bit of a shit position, because answering one way will piss off the other side and vice versa. What the media thinks is obviously very important to Boris, as we know, by his flip-flopping policy changes based on how much they ride him on a particular issue. And of course he knows the general population do not support woke agendas, so we had this bumbling piss-poor response here.
Do you think, as some senior politicians in Britain seem to, that President Biden is woke?
I can't comment on that. But what I know is that he's a fervent believer in the transatlantic alliance, and that's a great thing, and a believer in a lot of the things that we want to achieve together. And you know, insofar as nothing wrong with being woke, but what I can tell you is that I think that it's very, very important for everybody and certainly I will put myself in the category of people who believe that it's important to stick up for your history, your traditions, and your values and things you believe in.
Now first off, like I said, what a dumb fuck question it is. Who gives a shit if Boris thinks Beijing Biden is woke? It really does not matter at this point. I mean, let's be honest, he could have asked for Boris Johnson's thoughts on Joe Biden sniffing people, as that is something the world would really like to know, but Biden's woke credentials is probably not up there. In fact, I wonder if Boris Johnson would have the balls to condemn Biden sniffing people if the media asked him. What do you guys think? I am leaning towards no being the answer on that one. Boris Johnson lacks the balls to do most things, I reckon. Now, the idiotic question aside and the shitweasel journalist himself, I take massive issue with Boris Johnson saying there is nothing wrong with being woke. But him saying it, as I said, really does not surprise me. I have said it many times that Boris Johnson admitted to being a feminist before now, so is at least on board with some woke agendas, if not all, because of course he claims to support defending our history. Now, you don't need me to tell you that there is a lot wrong with being woke. It is obviously a debilitating condition like dementia, as Joe Biden I think experiences daily. And like I said a moment ago, the woke agenda is not supported by a lot of Boris Johnson's own voters, and literally never will be, so Boris Johnson is really not helping himself here. When asked the question, Boris Johnson should have just taken the easy way out by saying, why don't you ask a proper question instead of this utter tripe, you dirty snivelling shitweasel. That way he gets out of it by saving face on both sides, and makes the reporter look like the useless, out-of-touch tosspots we know them to be. But I guess this does expose the real Boris Johnson to the majority of the country now that he is in power. Anyone who thought Boris Johnson wasn't on the woke agenda, or at least part of it, this proves he really is. I can tell you now, and I expect most of you feel the same, there is a lot very wrong with wokeness and the woke agenda in general. Personally, it's a bit of a piss take to Boris Johnson's voters that he would say that, but then again, he's been taking the piss out of his own voters all year. Why should now be any different?
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.